Hello everyone. I hope you're keeping well and safe. It's time for another story. Today I'm going to read you a story written by Dick King-Smith, and it's called The Finger Eater. Oh, beware. There you go. Okay, listen carefully. Long, long ago, in the cold lands of the north, there lived a most unusual troll. Like all the hill folk, so called because they usually made their homes in holes in the hills, he was humpbacked and bow-legged, with a frog face and bat ears, and razor-sharp teeth. But he grew up, though like all other trolls not very tall, with an extremely bad habit. He liked to eat fingers. Oh dear. Ulf, for that was his name, always went about this in the same way. Whenever he spied someone walking along alone on the hills, he would come up, smiling broadly, and hold out a hand and say politely, "How do you do?" Now trolls are usually rude and extremely grumpy, and don't care how anyone does, so the person would be pleasantly surprised at meeting such a jolly one, and would hold out his or her hand to shake Ulf's. Then Ulf would take it and, quick as a flash, bite off a finger with his razor-sharp teeth and run away as fast as his bow legs would carry him, chewing like mad and grinning all over his frog face. Strangers visiting those parts were amazed to see how many men, women and children were lacking a finger on their right hands, especially children, because their fingers were more tender and much sought after by Ulf. Nobody lacked more than one finger, because even small children weren't foolish enough to shake hands if they met Ulf a second time, but run away with them deep in their pockets. It was usually the index finger that Ulf nipped off, because it was the easiest to get at, so that many children grew up pointing with a middle finger. Now this is the index finger, okay? And holding a pencil between middle and third. But sometimes Ulf went for the little one. Thumbs, for some reason, he did not seem to fancy. Strangely, the people of those lands were tolerant and long-suffering, and seemed to put up with Ulf's bad habit. What can be cured must be endured, they would say, and since they considered it was no use crying over spilt milk, they wasted no tears over lost fingers, but got on with their lives with only 7. Who knows how long Ulf the troll might have continued in his wicked ways, if it had not been for a little girl called Gudrun. There she is. Gudrun was the only child of a reindeer family. She had golden hair, which she wore in a long plait, and eyes the colour of cornflowers. Indeed, she was as pretty as a picture, looking as though reindeer butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. She was also a sensible child who paid attention to what her parents told her. One evening, as they all sat round the fire outside their tent, Gudrun's mother said to her, "Remember, you must never shake hands with a troll." There she is. She stirred the cooking pot that was suspended above the flames. The hand that held the ladle had no little finger. With his right hand, on which the index finger was missing, Gudrun's father picked up a stick to put on the fire. "But why?" said Gudrun. "Didn't either of you do that?" "When we were both children," said her mother, "we didn't know about the finger-eater. We were among the first in this district," said her father, "to lose a finger. But now everybody knows." "Why don't all the mothers and fathers warn their children then?" said Gudrun. "They do," said her mother, "but sometimes the children don't listen, or they just forget. Mind you remember." Gudrun thought deeply about this while she was out on the hills, helping her father herd his reindeer as they grazed their way across the slopes. It's all very well, she thought, to tell children not to get their fingers eaten, but someone ought to tell that troll not to eat them. Eating people's fingers is wrong. He should be stopped. And being not only a very pretty, but also a very resolute child, she resolved that she would stop the finger-eater. But how? "Father," she said as she sat milking one of the reindeer, "how big is a troll?" "No taller than you, Gudrun," her father said, "but much, much stronger. Have you ever met one?" For answer, her father held up his right hand. Oh dear. See? You see what's missing? That's right, it's his index finger, which means that he has met one. "Oh yes," said Gudrun. "But since then, I mean." "No," said her father, "but I have quite often seen the hill folk just for a moment. Then they scuttle down their holes, for they are all shy of people, except Ulf, the finger-eater." "You have never seen him again?" "No, and nor will you, I hope." But not long after, Gudrun did. Even in those bleak northern lands, there are days in the short summer which are bright and warm and flower-filled. And on such a morning, Gudrun's father handed her a flask. It was made of reindeer skin, this flask, and it was stopped with a cork made out of reindeer horn, and it was filled with fresh, rich reindeer milk. "Be a good girl and take this to your mother," her father said, for the herd's grazing grounds were not far from the family tent, and it did not occur to him that she might come to any harm. Gudrun set off across the hill, carrying the flask in her right hand. Before she had gone far, she saw, in a steep bank, a large hole. Could that be the home of one of the hill folk? She thought, and no sooner had she thought it than out of the hole came a hump-backed, bow-legged figure with a frog face and bat ears. Straight towards her he came, his mouth agape in a friendly smile, his hand outstretched. "How do you do?" he said politely. Oh dear, here we go. Wow, what do you think Gudrun is going to do next? Is she going to shake his hand? You will have to wait and see. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow. Keep well, keep smiling, be happy, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.